Welcome, crafty friends. Today I'm bringing back a classic Lawn Fawn interactive die set and creating a festive Christmas pop up box card. Even though this set has been around for a while, it's still one of my favorite ways to create a card that's full of dimension and fun surprises. In today's video, I'll walk you through the coloring of all of the images, share how I decorate and build a festive Christmas scene, and then show you step by step how to assemble the pop up box card. These interactive cards may look complicated, but they're actually a lot of fun to put together once you understand the basics. All of the supplies will be linked down below in the video description. Now, before I actually dive into creating the card on screen, this is what I did for myself ahead of time was I just die cut and stamped everything out of white cardstock and kind of laid out the design so that I knew where everything would go and what would fit. The stamp sets that I'm going to be using is the Caroling Mice. I have a Snowball Fight, and then the Christmas Before and After set, all using these adorable mice. Now let's dive into some coloring. So I did stamp all of the images out onto 80-pound white cardstock from Lawn Fawn, and I used their jet black ink. And I'm going to use a mix of Copic markers and also my Olo markers. So you can use any alcohol marker with the 80-pound cardstock and the jet black ink. I did speed up the coloring and I cut out some of the mice down towards the bottom only because I really was using the same technique and the same colors for a lot of things. So for the mice, I'm using my Copic markers, and that is in E34, E31, and E30. And really the technique that I'm using for all of the coloring is I'm looking at what direction the critter is facing, and I'm going to put the darkest color on the opposite side. So if it's facing to the right, I'll put the darkest color on the left. And then if the critter was facing straight, I'm going to put the highlight area right in the center and the darkest color around the outside edge. Now, I did come in with an E01 for the ears and I think the belly. For the snowman here, the mouse snowman and the snowballs, I am using BG11 and BG10, which is my go-to when I'm using anything that is going to be colored in snow. When I get down here to the what do we want to call that? A snow wall. I really just, or a fort. I don't know why I spaced that. A fort. I really just kind of outlined the bricks of the fort. I'm also going to add a little bit of that teal color to the hats. For the bench, I'm going to be using O4.6, O4.3, and O4.1, and that is in the Olo markers. So this one, I did the darkest colors from the outer edges and then blended in to the lightest color in the center. Then for the hats and really the outfits, I kind of alternated between the red and the greens. I stuck to very traditional Christmas colors. That is just my go-to because I really, really love traditional Christmas colors. And for the reds, again, I'm using Olos for this. I did R0.5, R0.4, R0.3, and then maybe an R0.2, but I think I used the 0.2 for some of the ears. I think actually I did the bellies of the mice with the E01, which is what I mentioned earlier. And then the R0.2, I believe I did for the ears. So it has more of a pinky tone. Then I went in with some YG 1.6, 1.4, and 1.2 to do the scarves for the red outfits. So really I just kind of mixed and matched. Sometimes I did a matching, sometimes I did red and green, really all of your preference or whatever colors you would like to use for them. But I am going to color the Christmas tree on screen for you. Like I said, I know I sped this up quite a bit, but a lot of the techniques and the colors are all the same. For the Christmas tree, I am using the same colors that I did for all of the outfits and kind of kept that pretty simple. I didn't do a ton of blending there because the area is so small. And then just brought in some of the markers I had on my desk from the outfits and used those to color in the ornaments. And then the last thing I'll show you on screen here is going to be the lantern. And most of that is going to be black, but I used YO 2.5 and YO 2.3 to do the inside of the lantern. I lined up all the coordinating dies and I'm going to run them through the die cut machine, die cut them all out, and then set them off on the side to work on my pop-up box. I'm going to be using the 80-pound white cardstock for this once again. So out of the scalloped box card pop-up, I have the two panels there and then also two inside panels, those two smaller ones with the tabs. I also die cut out stitched hillside border and then the village hillside border. So that's a look at all of the pieces that I'm going to be using to create my pop-up card, but I'm going to do mine just a little bit different. Now, first I'm going to start off with adding a little bit of shading to my stitched hillside. These are going to go on the bottom or around my box, and I am using some Tumbled Glass Distress Oxide for just a light blue hue on the top of those snowbanks. For the scalloped box card pop-up, I am picking one of the larger panels to be the back of my panel, and I'm going to mask off around it using some Post-it tape. The reason for this is I want to create kind of a nighttime sky in the background, and I just didn't want to get any ink transferred to anywhere else because as I'm going through this, I just want to make sure all the rest of the panels are clean, just in case I'm doing something with them. So I started off with Tumbled Glass Distress Oxide. I'm going to come in with a little bit of the peacock feathers and then finish it off with the blueprint sketch. And this doesn't have to go down very far because we're going to have our village over the top towards the bottom of that. So I don't have to do a ton of ink blending there. Once that ink blending is done, I can remove my Post-it tape and then I can start kind of going through the scored lines and folding alongside of those, reinforcing those with a bone folder. I didn't fold the back panel, so you can, but I decided to leave that kind of more straight. I didn't have a bend to that right now. So you do have some tabs on the side. We also have the flaps that are supposed to pop out. Now, what I'm going to do to kind of modify mine is I'm actually going to adhere those flaps down because I didn't want them to pop out. I wanted my scene to kind of be more complete along the sides of the panel. Now, this is kind of why it was really helpful to me to have that template already done because then I could see what panels were going to be exposed, where I needed to do my ink blending, and just kind of really think through my process when it came to creating the scene because I'm going to have snowbanks along the bottom, but I did need to add some sky, and I'm using the same colors that I did for the background on my back panel. You can see I also used some Post-it tape to kind of mask off the other portion. So I used the same Distress Oxide colors that I did before, which was the Tumbled Glass, Peacock Feathers, and a Blueprint Sketch. Now, again, I'm really kind of looking at my box off on the side to figure out which panels are going to be folded over and what needed to be ink blended. And I'm really masking off everything so that I don't have any distinct lines. And I really wanted my scenes to be pretty seamless. I don't think I ended up using these, but these are the trees that can go with the village hillside border. And I had just die cut those out of white cardstock, ink blended with freshly cut grass. And then for the houses, behind the houses, you do have some smaller squares that you could die cut out of colored cardstock. I just die cut them out of white, ink blended them with a yellow ink, and then I'm gluing them to the back behind my village. Now I can start working on partially assembling my box because I still have the inserts for the inside to do yet, but I really needed to kind of get this in progress. So you're going to notice that on each end there is a tab. You want to make sure everything is going to be facing in the same direction, and I am going to add a strip of a double-sided adhesive to those tabs because that's what's going to connect our box. Now I'm not going to adhere the entire box right away because like I said, we still have the inserts, but I can go ahead and put my flaps down. I believe this is designed to actually kind of pop out. That's part of the pop-out box feature, but I really wanted these flaps to stay down, so I just added double-sided tape to the back of those. Now I'm taking my two panels, I'm butting them up right next to each other. I remove the backing of the double-sided adhesive on one of those tabs, lining it up, and then pressing that tab down. So we have one long strip right now. I'm going to flip that over and I'm going to start adhering those flaps down so that I can adhere my scene together a little later on. I'm removing the backing of that double-sided adhesive, folding that down, and then just pushing or reinforcing those folds with my bone folder. So here's how my box is looking so far. Before I actually assemble anything, I want to stamp a sentiment, and I had planned it out, so I was already prepared to do this before I adhere that box, but in true Mindy fashion, we have a mishap, and I'm going to show you how I fix it, but I left the mistake, and in case you do this and need to fix it, I'm going to have the sentiment be on the front of my box. And I had the snowman there as a placement guide, but I wanted to be Merry Christmas on two separate lines. So I'm going to ink up the word Merry, masked off the word Christmas, inked it up, and then I'm going to flip my plate over and stamp the word Merry down. But when I was stamping it with my stamp wheel, I was pushing too hard and my top plate slipped, which is going to leave a little mark. It's not going to be the cleanest. I was very frustrated with myself, but I am going to fix that. And the way I did that is I'm taking a piece of a red cardstock. I'm prepping that with an anti-static powder tool. I'm going to ink up the word Merry Christmas in white pigment ink. This is the Yeti ink from Lawn Fawn. And I'm going to stamp it about 2 to 3 times to get a nice transfer. This is a go-to process of mine when I want to use white embossing powder. I find I get very crisp results when I do this. So after I sprinkled on the embossing powder, I can use my heat tool to melt that. After it's cooled off, I'm going to use a paper trimmer to trim that down into a really thin strip. After it's in that thin strip, I am going to trim it into 2 more pieces so the word Merry and Christmas are separate. Now, in the meantime, I'm going to attach my hillsides. I did trim these down off screen a little bit just so that they weren't so high. And then I trimmed them down to fit the size of each of the panels. Once I kind of put them all together or add them with the tape runner, they're not completely seamless. Like my hills don't match up on the other side. I'm okay with that because I don't think they're going to look at it all at once and notice that my hills don't match up. I just wanted it to be something down there to kind of signify the snowbanks and just a really fun outdoor scene. And then anything that was overhanging, I can trim off with my scissors. So I may kind of look out of order a little bit when I'm doing this, but this is just what helped me in my design process. I am adding my village to the back panel there. So that is why I didn't go down with the ink blending very far. I used just the tape runner for that because I didn't want a lot of dimension back there. My inserts, I added the double-sided tape to each side of the tabs. Completely forgot that I did not fold my tabs to get them started. So I'm doing that right now. And then I'm going to use liquid glue on the one because I had already moved the backing on it and my fingers were touching it. So I used a liquid glue on that one side. I'm adding it so that the top of my insert is flush with the top of that box. So the side of the box there you can see is flush. And then you can just judge on how much spacing you want in between each of those inserts. Now, once those are down, I can remove the backing on the other side of the tab, and then I'm going to fold the box over. I can also remove the tab on the actual box itself, fold that under, and then all of them will get attached at once. So really right here, we have our box scene. I also took one of those hillsides and I added it to the back panel with my village just to kind of complete that snowy hillside scene. I'm adding tape runner to my sentiment that I trimmed down and it fits just perfectly over my oops. So thankfully I was able to kind of cover up that mishap and I actually kind of like that better because I like how that red really pops against the blue. And then my snowman I did pop up with some foam squares. And now really is just assembly. So you can create your scene however you like. I really had a lot of fun combining all of these different sets for the mice and just kind of creating this fun little winter scene on the outside of my box. And some of the mice I did pop up with some thin foam squares. I added my snow fort. That I did not pop up because I'm going to have mice in front of it. So I didn't want to get too carried away with the dimension. And having those snowballs there where it's like getting thrown across the front of the box, I just thought that was really adorable. Now I'm working on the inserts and that I am using my tape runner to attach some of those pieces. There is one area I kind of wish I would have had something else to put back there. I felt like one of my inserts might have been a little bare on the right-hand side, but I think it balanced out fairly well because I think you can, for the most part, see everything in there. And last but not least is just taking a white gel pen and adding highlights to my mouse. And then that is going to finish off my scene. So I love how in the top part with the inserts, we kind of have the buildings in the background. We have that little almost a city scene with the caroling mice. And then down below, we have all the mice kind of goofing off and having a snowball fight. Plus, being able to combine some of the newer products with previously released and even that scallop pop up box, which has been in my collection for a long time. I really enjoyed pairing all of these together. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. I hope you enjoyed seeing this classic Lawn Fawn pop up box card come together and that it inspires you to revisit some of your older interactive products. Sometimes those tried and true favorites are just as fun as the newest release. If you enjoyed today's video, I'd love it if you gave it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. Be sure to leave a comment below and let me know if you've ever made a pop up box card or if you have a favorite interactive design. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.